Welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
And I'm Lizzy.
And this is Harry Potter and the Second Time Reader.
The final episode.
Final episode of book 4.
Crazy.
I know.
It's been a journey.
It's been a gaslighting journey. It's been a journey of you on self-discovery for certain things that happen in the book.
Ups and downs.
Yep.
Fast and slow. It's crazy.
I know. Chapter 2 is Flesh, Blood, and Bone.
Chapter 32.
What did I say?
You just said 2.
I thought I said 32. Oh, chapter 32.
Run it back.
Flesh, Blood, and Bone. The next 2 are kind of quicker chapters, but they're all like one unit really. But what happens in this one? All the time. Don't worry.
What? 32.
Chapter 32. What happens in this one?
Cedric dies.
So sad.
Which is really tragic.
I know.
But I knew that was gonna happen. I got spoiled for that.
Really?
Yeah.
Who spoiled that for you?
I saw a meme. I was like, oh. Come on. But it was not that bad. Because, like, his death, I don't think would have been that dramatic to me anyway. I was kind of just like, okay, when I was reading it. Because what got me later with his death was, like, Harry's reaction to it, but not his actual, like, killing. So
yeah.
It didn't ruin it. But what else happens? Voldemort rises up again, right? He becomes his full self doing this terrible...
With flesh, bone, and blood, yeah.
Yeah, that is crazy.
I know.
This chapter is actually really short.
Yeah, this is a very short chapter. And you answered half my questions.
That's like it.
My question is like, do you like Cedric? Did you expect he was going to die? It's pretty basic stuff.
I think if I would have been a little blindsided by his death.
Yeah.
If I didn't actually know.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah. This is like seriously dark.
Yeah.
Magic.
I was going to say, this little potion that they're doing, we've never really seen anything like it.
Yeah. I don't like seeing things like it either. Because, like, you're taking Wormtail's giving himself willingly.
Yes. Flesh of the Servant willingly cuts his whole hand off.
Which, it took me a second to realize it was his whole hand.
Yeah.
And when I noticed that, I was like...
I know. Why couldn't you, like, cut a finger or, like, a toe off?
I thought he was just going to do, like, a chunk of flesh.
Right?
But, like, he went through the bones? Like, what?
With a knife? Yeah, I don't know.
What kind of knife is that?
Oh, for real.
Yeah, and then Harry, obviously, they're taking it from him unwillingly, which is super nasty.
Yep.
But they didn't even... I feel like they didn't cut him that bad. I thought they were going to, like, destroy him or, like, mutilate him. But I feel like it wasn't that bad. I don't know how it looks in the movies, but the books made it sound like... not that bad.
Yeah.
It's like a trickle of
just
blood.
just like a little gash in his arm. Yeah.
Which his leg was already bleeding. So
yeah, I know. Why didn't they just take it from his leg?
Yeah. But whatever.
Yeah. And then what is it? Bone of the father. They took the bone of. That's weird.
Yeah.
Grave digging.
Grave robbing.
I know.
It's not because Polyjuice is like not dark, but you're being someone else. You're taking a part of someone else. Like they took the hair.
Yeah.
Or like the nails.
Yep.
But this is like totally different with the way you're just like forcing people to participate in your potion making. I don't like it.
Now, there's an interesting note that we'll talk about more in the Dumbledore chapter. There's one question that I have for you in particular that everyone theorized in this book. It was like the line in this book that people clung on to. But what do you think? Why didn't Voldemort just use some other random person's blood? It had to be the blood of the enemy, so it had to be someone who was his enemy. Why did he have to use Harry's blood?
Because his mom's protection is in his blood.
But okay.
Am I not thinking hard enough on this?
No. That was a great answer. That is just something I just want to save this discussion for when they talk about it with Dumbledore. Because it's a It's a key little bit here.
Yeah, because I don't know if it's actually in this chapter just because
Mhm.
it is so tiny.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I
Um,
think just they kind of everything happens in this chapter.
yeah, but it comes up in the next one.
Did it surprise you that Voldemort came back this early?
I was thinking about that because I was like, it's early in the series, it feels like,
Mm.
but I guess we're probably like halfway through.
We're not like halfway through book 5 is halfway through, which is crazy.
Okay. But if I'm thinking about it in the history context, like it's been years.
Yeah.
So is it 12 years they keep saying? Or 13 years?
13?
Because that
14?
feels like a good amount of time.
Yeah.
Like he didn't die, he just had to recover.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I could see that happening with some evil person in history. Like they go in hiding or they go to jail for like a certain amount of time and they come back out.
Yeah.
And then boom, it's all back to craziness.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It almost feels like the correct amount of time because the people that he got to follow him are still alive. People in the ministry know him. Like the context hasn't changed too much. Minus the fact that like Harry Potter's growing up now and is an active wizard. But I don't know. I like how everybody around Voldemort is like still the same people.
Yeah, for sure. And that's even the next chapter. So let's even move on to the next chapter because the Death Eater. So all the people around him are kind of the same. So he calls all of his Death Eaters with the Dark Mark, and then they kind of just have like a dialogue session in the
so
the graveyard. It's a little
they
wild.
kiss his robe.
I know.
Like, I hate this.
I know.
This is when you were telling me that he is like a little baby.
Yeah.
That is
They drop him into this little potion, and he's just this little baby Voldemort.
Ew.
It's pretty gross.
Yeah, I don't want to see that.
Yeah, we'll get ready. You're gonna see it.
So nasty.
The guy who there's all sorts of qualms that people have with the actors for how they portray their characters, and one that not a ton of people have qualms with is Voldemort. People think that the person who played Voldemort does him so well, and even in the movies, the graveyard scene, it's a pretty chillingly good scene. It's like the guy is at the top of his game with acting. He's definitely one of the best actors in the whole series. He's just like nailing all the beats. So he's pretty creepy. He's pretty gross, but he does a pretty good job portraying Voldemort here. Okay, so there's this line. I want to talk about this. It says Voldemort is talking to his followers, and he says, "And then I ask myself, but how could they have believed I would not rise again? They who knew the steps I took long ago to guard myself against mortal death. They who have seen proofs of my immense power and the many times I was mightier than any wizard living." What is Voldemort talking about here? When he says, I knew the steps I took long ago to guard myself against mortal death.
The Horcruxes.
Okay, good. There's always things I want to do to confirm that, okay, you do know about the Horcruxes. Just making sure.
I do know about the Horcruxes. But I got the feeling that he kind of surprised himself when Harry, like it bounced back or whatever off of Harry.
Yeah.
Because I think he meant to use his Horcruxes to live eternally in like superpower type of existence, like at his whole potential, not to be living as a little spirit that has to like wander and like inhabit other people's bodies. So I think he like surprised himself and was probably like, oh, like good thing I made the Horcruxes, because I guess he would have died if he hadn't done that.
Yeah, if they would have died, if he died, his soul wouldn't have been tethered to the earth, so that he would have just kind of gone on to the next life in Harry Potter lore, wherever that is, whatever that is.
Yeah, because the whole reason he did Horcruxes was to survive forever.
Yep.
But at complete power, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I feel like he was probably surprised that, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know much about Horcruxes yet. And it's like, it's come up because you said that the diary was one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's gone. So I don't know if like, is Voldemort weaker now? Does that mean anything?
Mm-mm. So even when we were talking about the diary was a funky one because the diary seemed, and I think we mentioned this during the second one, but the diary has always thrown me off and thrown a bunch of other people off because it seems like the diary is diminishing and then Voldemort is ascending. So it seems like you have to use a Horcrux in order to come back. It's like you have 7 little points where you can come back. But it's again, I think I explained this then, but it's more so like these are tethers. So like when you die, this is the one thing in this, which is a dark little ritual they're doing that kind of shows that he's not coming back with the Horcruxes. The Horcruxes are still just in existence, but he's coming back with other dark magic. So you can bring a witch or wizard back who hasn't departed this life and gone on to the next one. You can bring someone back if they've had Horcruxes. Their like soul is still bound to this earth, so you just like find their soul, put it in a little baby, and then and then you bring that baby back to life.
I'm lost.
It's dark, very dark stuff. There's also, I think I mentioned this before too. The way that Voldemort was a little baby was Wormtail impregnated a Bertha Jorkins. And then when they had no use of Bertha Jorkins, when she gave birth to the Voldemort baby, they killed her. And then now what they're doing is they're essentially like this what this spell kind of does is it like accelerates like you to the age of 60. So they put Voldemort in this little potion with the blood, with all the other things, and he's like this little baby, he doesn't have power, and then all of a sudden he becomes a man. So he's like fully powerful now and like at his full potential, rather than him being a baby when he was like so weak and still needed to like drink snake venom and all that other weird stuff, milk Nagini, all this weird stuff.
Nagini. But he's in full potential in his body, but not like in his place in the world.
No.
But right. When he was making Horcruxes, he was like, is he at the height of his career?
Yeah, he was at the height of his he was at the height of his career. Definitely at the height of his power at that point, but he was hoping to get more power. He was hoping that when he vanquished Harry Potter, he would kind of like ascend to become the most powerful wizard of all time, and no one would want to cross him, and he would assert himself over the Muggle world as well, because that was his end goal, kind of to eliminate that, to have wizards be superior over Muggles, and he was going to continue on that trajectory, which is pretty dark.
You say with a smile on your face. Here's a line about the blood, though. I knew the one I must use if I was to rise again, more powerful than I had been when I had fallen. I wanted Harry Potter's blood. I wanted the blood of the one who had stripped me of power 13 years ago, for the lingering protection his mother once gave him would then reside in my veins too.
Okay.
But I don't know, like, does that actually give him any extra power?
Yeah, is it giving him any extra power?
Because he can touch Harry, and that was a moment of like, oh, like, okay. I didn't really get that he couldn't touch Harry. I guess in the Sorcerer's Stone that happened.
Yep.
But I don't know. I'm like, is the mom's love gonna even inhabit such an evil person? Like, is there some like moral contradiction where that can't happen? I don't know.
Ooh, fascinating.
Like, is it just not gonna help him because he's just, it's like, yeah, it just clashes. Does he think it's gonna help him and it doesn't?
We'll talk about this soon. We'll get there. It's you're throwing us out some fascinating theories, but we'll talk about those in a bit. Because there's a few things that Dumbledore talks about him with. Dumbledore talks to Harry about that's when we'll kind of talk about some of this. But that idea, do you actually think that it would work? It's a up until where you are, do you think that it would be what are you leaning toward? That it would be a contradiction, that there's no way that the protection of love could dwell in such evil being? Or do you think that Voldemort is right and that he actually does have the protection of love? Proof of that, he's able to touch Harry.
I don't think it's gonna work.
Interesting.
I think it's something that Voldemort would think, just like as a very possessive, narcissistic kind of person. It's like, I want that, like that's gonna work for me too. and it doesn't, and he doesn't understand like the nuance of love between like two people.
Yeah.
And I think it might just be something for Harry. And I'm like, maybe it will go the other way and it'll like eat him alive, like having love in his body, like burn him from the inside out or something. But I don't know. I don't think it's going to help him. Because maybe it's just like, maybe the love has worn off Harry and now he's touchable. You know, like.
That sounds so gross.
Yeah.
An old man saying to a not adult yet, I can touch you now. It's a little creepy.
It's like, no, you can't.
Yeah, no, there's still laws about this, Voldemort. Yeah. You can't do that.
I was gonna say something about the Sorcerer's Stone again, but I forgot what I was gonna say.
We'll come back.
Yeah. This whole right hand thing, that was foreshadowed in chapter 1. And Voldemort was like, I'm going to give you a task that many people would give their right hand.
Yeah, right.
And it is his right hand.
Yep.
But I'm like, yeah, the only reason they would do that is because you like force them to, basically.
Yeah.
With threat of torture.
Yeah. So, and that's another thing I want to talk about in a bit too. So this is the chapter where Voldemort essentially lays out a ton of information, and then Dumbledore has a conversation with Harry about pretty much all the information that happens here. And when Dumbledore fills Harry in on certain things is when I want to talk about all this stuff, because that's when we'll have a little bit more information. I'll read some lines about that, and then we'll kind of just guess and see where we are with it. Because that line in particular with the hand is a really funky one. But I love that you caught that. Some of my people would give their right hand to do this task.
Because I went back and reread the first chapter, like skimmed it to see if it made sense. But it just kind of helped out the timeline.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Because there's still stuff that I'm like, what?
Doesn't make sense? No. Yeah, it's not going to make sense until the last book.
That's why there's more. Oh, he goes, Dumbledore. Wait. Okay, Harry Potter, blah, blah, blah. He's been better protected than I think even he knows. Protected in ways devised by Dumbledore long ago when it fell on him to arrange the boy's future. Dumbledore invoked an ancient magic to ensure the boy's protection as long as he's in his relation's care. Not even I can touch him there. That was like mind-blowing to me.
Okay.
Because I kept thinking, why does everyone think Harry Potter's so safe at the Dursleys?
Yeah.
And like, why is 200 miles away for Voldemort? Like, why is that? Like, that's not far enough. But now I'm so intrigued because having read the first like chapter and a half of the second book, somebody is at the Dursleys protecting him, and I'm like, is it just this person? But I don't think it just being that guy is enough to be called like ancient magic, because he's literally just like a dude chilling. Yeah. But
what is the protection?
Maybe Dumbledore loves Harry so much too that he can like do that. I don't know. I was trying to think about this. I don't know enough magic to be able to come up with something.
You'll get a little bit of it in the next book. And the next book is when they talk about this.
Because ancient magic makes it seem like it's something that's been done before.
Man, I cannot wait till we get to the next book now, dude. Oh, it's so good. There's something that happens in the next book that is quite fascinating.
Like, give me something. Like, you can't just keep saying that.
Remember my last. That's just all I'll give you.
Huh? Remember my last? Who said that?
I don't know. We'll see.
What? You have to give me like 5% more. Just, come on.
5% more. No way.
Toe the line.
Things you'll get pieces of the puzzle in the next book, and then it will be up to you to piece those puzzle pieces together until we get to the very end, which is when everything comes together.
Giving me more.
I know, I'm not going to give you more because we're almost going to get to the next book. So we'll be
this is giving me a lot. Like, this is significant.
Yeah, I know.
So I feel like you should be able to donate some information to the cause.
Dumbledore invoked an ancient magic to ensure the boy's protection as long as he is in his relation's care. Not even I can touch him there. There's something else that we've encountered in this book.
Wait, did he do like is it Fidelius or
something? Yes.
Wait, so who's like a secret keeper?
Yeah, well, that's everything they got in the third book. The parents entrusted their secret keeper to someone wrong. They entrusted it to Wormtail rather than Sirius, or rather than Lupin, or rather than even James himself. They gave it to Wormtail. Wormtail betrayed them. So they're that same. It's not necessarily the Fidelius charm. It's something a little bit different, but it's pretty much the Fidelius charm. Let's just say it's the Fidelius charm for all intents and purposes.
If it is, yesterday I learned that it's all intents and purposes. I thought it was intensive purposes.
Oh, intents and purposes?
Intents.
Like what you intend?
Purposes.
Really?
That's what the phrase is. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, me neither. And I kept hearing people say it. So I was like, let me just Google it to make sure that I'm saying it right. It's not intensive purposes. It's
for all intents and purposes.
And purposes.
Intense.
And I think it was intense constructions and purposes, something like that. Like there was a third one, and it just like colloquially got dropped off, and we just now
let's bring it back. Let's start talking about it.
Anyway,
intensive and purposes.
Intense and purposes. What was I gonna say? Oh, assuming it is the Fidelius charm, which I think you just said it's not, but we'll just say Dumbledore didn't know, because I'm trying to think who would be the secret keeper. Dumbledore didn't know Sirius was an animagus till after he was at Hogwarts, and I'm assuming he did this thing right when he dropped Harry off at the Dursleys in the beginning. So the secret keeper would need to be somebody who was like around since the beginning. Because I want to be like, oh, Sirius is the secret keeper, but Sirius wasn't really part of the picture. Maybe because he didn't know he was an animagus, but maybe he knew he was like out and about in the world, but he would never do that with someone in Azkaban. Maybe it's like Snape.
We'll get more information on this. I'll just say that it's Fidelius charm like. It doesn't exactly match the Fidelius charm, and there's more theory on this than there is definitive answers. We get definitive answers on this, but fans piece together certain things because of this. And it's not utterly integral to the plot of this to figure out. You just need to know that Harry has protection on this house. And so whenever he's there, whenever he can call it home, he's safe and he's protected. So it's very similar to the Fidelius charm. It's not exactly like the Fidelius charm. You don't know if that he needs a secret keeper, if he needs some other things attached to it. We'll talk about that more when we get to Remember My Last.
Is this like, don't they do something to the burrow where it like disappears? Or is that like Sirius's house?
That's Sirius's house, yeah.
Yeah. So is it like that?
That's the Fidelius charm.
That's the Fidelius charm? So who's the secret keeper for that?
We'll get there when we get there. Stop rushing ahead to the next book.
I'm trying to theorize. Come on.
We'll theorize in the next book. Come on.
Okay, fine. Then let's keep going.
All right, chapter 34 is Priori Incantatem. Another great chapter where they have a duel.
Freaking ghosts. I was like, this is how they make ghosts? What is going on?
No, that is not how they make ghosts.
It's an echo.
But what we do see is a connection between the two wands, which is really fascinating. But this is when they duel, and then all sorts of ghost-ish people pop out of the wands. What are your notes on this chapter?
Definitely was wondering if this is how you make ghosts, if there's some sort of ceremony thing. And then I wrote, this just pauses death. They pop back fully aware like nothing happened. Like these echoes. Because I was thinking about like the afterlife, and I'm like, it's not like their life like paused in the wizarding world, but when they come back, it's like nothing ever happened. It's like they've been watching it, like they know what's going on, which I just think was crazy. So I was like confused and thinking that might be how you make a ghost before Dumbledore said it's not how you do that. Yeah, it's almost like it just is strange to me how they're aware of like the current situation.
Yeah. Ghosts are a weird discussion, and there haven't been definitive answers on that, whether like how ghosts are created, because it seems like when I don't want to keep saying this, But this really is a discussion for the next book as well.
I'll give you like 3 more tries to say that, and after that, you're out.
I have to give answers.
Use them carefully.
For this one, there's no definitive answer for ghosts. It's like it seems the most logical that when they die, they have so much unfinished business on Earth that they're given the choice if they want to depart and go to the next life, or if they want to come back and haunt the place that they were at. And the ones that choose to haunt it are the ghosts. Only wizards can become ghosts. Witches or wizards can become ghosts. And it's not just like, this isn't the ghost spell. This is something that we've seen previously in this book, which is when someone casts a Priori Incantatem spell on another person's wand, it shows the last spell that that wand cast. This is like that to a different extent. It's like you're seeing the last spell that the person did, but you're seeing a ton of the last spells that the person did. And it's cast by these two wands battling each other out, and it's like one of the wands is like forcing the other one to confess it's evil spells.
Because it only happens with the brother wands, right?
Yeah.
They need the same core.
Yeah.
So if this just went on and on and on, would Mr. and Mrs. Riddle come out?
Yeah. If it just kept going, yeah, they would come out.
Did he kill any people between Mrs. Riddle and Mr. Riddle and Frank?
It would be all the people that he killed in his Horcrux creation. And it'd be more than that. There'd probably be thousands of people popping out of this wand. But these are the most recent ones that he's killed. And it kind of stops because this is, I guess it stops for like, plot devices. This is kind of where Harry doesn't care about too many people that come before that, really. He just cares about his like mom and dad, really, because there's a one line where his mom, I think he was like excited to see that it's his mom.
Sobbing.
I know. It's devastating.
So sad.
It was such a devastating line. It says, and now another head was emerging from the tip of the wand, and Harry knew when he saw it who it would be. He knew, as though he had expected it from the moment when Cedric had appeared from the wand. Knew because the woman appearing was the one he thought of more than any other tonight. Oh man. There was slight controversy in the editing of this because she misdid her order. She did the father coming before the mother, when in reality Voldemort killed the father and then killed the mother. So the mother should have come before the father. So there was a battle between the two editors and what she actually wanted to do, which is have the mother last versus the father being last. And I think it's different in different I think it's different in some different editions of the book. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but
like there was a mistake.
Yeah, it was a mistake that she made. She didn't even catch it because she wanted to have the mom come out last, which is what it should be. But in reality, Voldemort killed the mom after he killed Harry's dad. So it should have been the mom comes out first and then the dad comes out after the mom.
That's interesting.
Yeah. One of my questions was exactly your question. The first one that I asked first time readers, I said, is this how ghosts are made?
Yeah, it feels like it.
Yeah, it does.
I love how his dad is like giving him directions
Yeah.
and help. That I think was like really nice because Harry doesn't have like the father around to give him any help, and he's doing all these crazy things by himself. But yeah, I think that was like what was making me so sad.
I know.
It's like he actually is interacting with his dad, which is what I wanted so badly with the mirror and like all just throughout this whole series. And then to finally have that for like 5 seconds. And like, still, I don't understand the awareness of these echoes because he's like, we'll only be here for a few seconds.
I know.
So it's like, they're almost just alive again for like 10 seconds and then they're just gone. It's just like a blip in, because like if you're a ghost, I don't know, I'm thinking too much about this, but they're not ghostly. Like,
yeah, they're not.
They're very normal, and ghosts are existing in the current time and they know what's happening at Hogwarts, obviously, but I don't know. Something weird.
Yeah. This is something different. This is something weird. I don't have answers for this one. Not that I'm withholding answers, but I just don't have answers for this one. Maybe this will come up later though. So maybe we'll talk about it then.
Okay.
All right. Next chapter is Veritaserum. So was there anything else in these the Voldemort appearing chapters that caught you off guard or that were interesting that you wanted to talk about?
I don't think so.
They were pretty chilling chapters though, right? Like they're pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
He comes back and it's actually pretty scary.
They definitely have a different kind of tone to
Yeah.
them.
Yep.
This is when I'm saying like the second half of this book, or even the last, like the fourth quarter, honestly, it really, if you compare that to the beginning of the book, it's completely different.
Yeah.
From the time they start learning all the hexes, that to me is like they really reach like not adulthood, but they're growing up.
Yeah.
And it's like they're not just like silly little kids anymore. Like they're actually learning things that have weight to them.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's a huge shift.
This is definitely where they like hit the line of knowing deeper magic, which is really cool because prior to this, in the first two books especially, like you didn't really see them getting into any kind of like defensive magic or like any kind of magic at all. It was just like the plot happens and they book 3 changed that a little bit, and then book 4 you're like they're finally getting into like knowing stuff and knowing how to defend themselves, which is kind of nice. That always bothered me.
And Moody taught Harry how to defend himself from the Imperius.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah. So Crouch Jr. did that knowingly.
Yep.
But I guess he didn't know that Voldemort was going to try to use it against him.
Yeah.
He like accidentally helped the wrong side.
There's all sorts of fan theories about that one. That's a fascinating one. And then there's another one where Crouch Jr. is essentially the one that persuades Harry to become an Auror. Like Harry has a desire to be an Auror after this because he Crouch is like, Harry, you'd make a good Auror.
Who does he say that to? Hermione or Ron too?
I think he says that to Hermione.
Yeah, and then Ron has some moment where he's like, "Oh, like we should all be."
Yeah. And they're like, Ron, you got a ways to go.
Yeah.
It's just slow your roll.
Poor Ron.
All right, chapter 35 is Veritaserum, and this one they just uncover the way of what everything that happened with Crouch.
Yeah. Veritaserum.
What do you think about this?
It's scary.
Yeah.
I would be afraid. And this is what Snape was threatening Harry with. And we had a whole discussion about that, like how far would Snape actually go?
Yep.
But this is like, I guess they're using it for good, but it still feels so wrong and intrusive to me. And just knowing that, I don't know. I just hate it.
Yeah, that.
Because there's just it took me a while. I was pretty far into this chapter before I realized just like the pattern that it was following of just like, it really is an interview of just like Dumbledore asks a question and it's just complete answer. And I was so lost in the plot that I kind of missed like the chillingness of that. Because Dumbledore's questions, there are questions that I already have on my mind. So I'm like, great, let's answer that.
Yeah.
But then just to picture like this playing out in the office or wherever they are, it's like,
it is invasive.
And then he was making all these weird faces and like smiling and
the whole thing is really, really eerie and really creepy. Again, this is one thing that is strange in the magical world because there's these objects that can be used for good and sometimes they are used for good, but there's nothing like it's just weird, but the morality of using Veritaserum on someone who's evil to get the truth, to me, still feels strange. It's the same thing of like a courtroom. Like, I mean, ideally, everyone would, you want to give someone Veritaserum so they tell the absolute truth and nothing but the truth and the whole truth. But I don't know. It seems a little strange. It seems like a little invasive.
Cheating to you?
Yeah, but there's still other ways. Like have you ever seen the movie Liar Liar?
Mm-mm.
He he essentially cannot tell a lie for one entire day, and he has to like win a court case by not telling a lie, and he's like known to be a lawyer who lies. It's like a Jim Carrey movie. It's like out of this world. It's wild, but it's kind of like that. But I'm like, I feel like if that's the case, there still could be massive corruption. So I'm like, everyone who walks into a courtroom needs to take Veritaserum for the amount of time that they have court. Like even the judge has to take it because he has to be truthful in what he says about how he administers his justice.
But there's something like human about I have the right to
Remain silent.
yeah, I have the right to remain silent, or I can have the right to like lie. Like I have the right to manipulate the information that you know about me, or like I can like I'm in control of what I share, you know?
Yeah.
And I like that.
I like that too. I'm completely with you because like I'm like a generally private person. So Veritaserum definitely the things that feel the most invasive in this series are the things that deprive people of privacy or autonomy. To me, that's the scariest. I'm okay with dealing with the Cruciatus Curse. Not to the point where it would addle my mind, but I'm like, give me the Cruciatus Curse rather than Veritaserum. Yeah, absolutely, any day. Or like the Imperious Curse. That's like, I don't want to deal with the Imperious Curse, or like being given like a love potion. That's like, no. I want autonomy over myself, be able to make my own decisions. And Veritaserum definitely feels like a massive invasion of that to the point where it just makes me so uncomfortable.
We love our autonomy. It's probably different for other people too. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Some people it probably wouldn't bother them too much. Because genuinely, I don't want to say this and it feel wrong, but like I'm a very open person in a way. Like I don't mind people knowing everything that's going on. It's just like I don't have many walls up with that. But at the same time, it's like there is a lot of times where I'm very cautious about like what I'm telling people or who I'm telling. But it's just like a control thing, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know.
I'm with you because there's certain people I just don't want them to have certain information about myself. So you should just be given the ability to choose who you want to tell certain things to and not. And Veritaserum removes that, which is just, I mean, again, it's being used for something good here, but it's still a little creepy.
Yeah. Because most of the time I don't care what other people think about me.
Yeah.
So then I'm just like, all right, so why don't you just know everything about me then? Like, I don't care. You know, like it's of no consequence to me what you think.
Yeah.
But then sometimes there's those things that I don't want to say.
Yeah, I'm with you. I know exactly what you mean.
It probably, Veritaserum should be like, you need like a permit to have it.
Yeah, 100%. There's a few potions that you definitely should have a permit to have those things.
But Snape is just the potions master. So maybe that's why Dumbledore wants him, because he can make such a strong truth serum. I don't know.
Well,
but like it could be used against him too. So it's kind of a safety net.
One fascinating thing too is Snape threatens to use it, but never does. And Dumbledore just like takes this vial and doesn't threaten someone with it, just pours it down their gullet.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah. It's again, we're arriving at the truth and we're arriving at answers, which is really nice.
What is the faux glass too? Like that does not make sense to me.
So the faux glass is very useless in my opinion. If you are looking at this faux glass, there's going to be shadows of your foes and the people who are opposed to you, and they're going to be like shadows. And the clearer that they get, the closer they are to you, to the point where if you see the white of their eyes, that's when you know they're right behind you.
Your foes?
Yeah.
So why is
your enemies?
Why are the three of them in it? McGonagall, Snape, and Dumbledore.
Because they're Crouch's foes.
Even though Harry's looking in the thing.
I think so. I think it's probably contingent on the person who owns it.
So when Snape looks in it, Snape sees himself, though.
He's his own worst enemy?
Yeah. Is that like a thing?
If he had a faux glass, maybe, yeah.
He is looking in the faux glass, and he sees himself. So does it just give you a reflection? Or am I onto something?
Interesting. Wait, where does it say that? Can you find that? Because that'd be a fascinating meta discussion.
I will find it. It's in passing. He is okay. Here we go. That was fast. Oh wait, no, that's not it. I'll get it.
Free.
I started making a whole thing about writing down all of these little previous information bits that we had and then just like connecting all the dots. I was like working hard to try and pay attention to all this, but there's just so much happening. I feel like I wish he had spread it out a little more or like answered some of these along the way, like in a little mystery instead of just like dumping it all out with the truth serum. But it was a lot. It was a good information
Yeah, for
dump.
sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what chapter is this? 35?
Yeah.
So the reason that Crouch Jr. kind of really got entangled with Voldemort is because he wanted to be closer than the sun. Like he was craving that, like, I guess that's not really a power position, but it's something that was really abused to him in his own life. Like he was a neglected son.
Yep.
So that was kind of, he was like, he promised me that I'd be closer than the sun. So I don't know.
It is pretty dark how Voldemort uses people's like insecurities and fears against them. So this guy wants to have a closer father, and then he uses that against him. When Voldemort says like, "I'll be closer than a father," you know, be like a better relationship that you have. When really it's not, but like he uses that to Crouch's to gain a devoted follower, I guess.
But he was devoted like from the beginning.
Yeah.
Which is why he's so evil.
Yeah, I know.
I hate him so much. And so Crouch, I also hate that they're named the same thing. That makes it so difficult.
Junior and Senior. Just call them Junior and Senior.
So Senior Crouch, I don't even know which Crouch it was, but when he dismissed Winky, he was being serious because Winky had technically failed.
Yes.
Which is annoying.
Well, yeah. She had technically failed, and there was another point in that, and I read this line out in the beginning. They talk about how Winky looked like she was like walking away from the situation really weird. It looked like she was dragging an invisible body. That's what they said, and literally that's what she was doing.
Is that really how they said it?
Mm-hmm.
Dang, I missed that. Like I remember that line.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, she just got like a wand up her pants. Like that's what I was thinking.
And then Crouch goes and searches through the bushes, and then he finds his son, and then he just leaves his son there, and then comes back, and then that's when he takes his son, puts him under the Imperious Curse, dismisses his house elf. That's whenever it all happens at that moment.
At the Quidditch thing.
Yeah, Quidditch World Cup.
So in the woods at Hogwarts, he kills so Crouch Jr. as Moody kills Crouch Sr.
Yeah. But after he assaults Crumb. So he sees him, and then remember Crouch or Moody has the map, has Marauder's map, so he's able to find and locate where Crouch Sr. where his dad is. And so that one time he sees him on the map, he goes down, and then
that is a huge contingency.
Yeah.
Because even if you go back to like the scene on the stairs where Moody first gets the Marauder's map, that was Moody in Snape's office, and then he just kept it from then on because I guess he realized that the map shows invisible people.
Yep.
But if he didn't have the map, Harry, like none of this would have really happened.
Because the first time Harry sees Crouch, he doesn't differentiate between junior or senior. So Harry probably would have forever thought it was Crouch Senior sneaking around because he didn't really know about Crouch Junior at the point. So that's why it's pretty wild, because he just would have, maybe he would have like gone and looked and experimented at things. But imagine like Harry takes it out during his Defense Against the Dark Arts and is just scanning through it, and all of a sudden he sees Crouch. He's like, wait, that's Moody. Something's awfully suspicious here.
Do you think he would have caught on to that? He'd probably like, the map's wrong.
He probably would have thought the map was wrong, maybe. That's an interesting one. Harry is not the most trusting a person, so maybe he would have distrusted the map, or maybe he would have like had questions about it, but I don't know if Harry would ever go to authorities and actually communicate that. He would have just dealt with it himself, which is one of Harry's flaws.
And Crouch Jr. says the map that I used the map I had taken from Harry Potter, the map that had almost ruined everything. And Dumbledore goes, map? Quickly, he said, what map is this? Potter's map of Hogwarts. So he doesn't even know that the map exists.
No. Which is crazy.
And the fact that he goes, what map is this? I feel like there's other map options. Like, which map is this? Yeah. Like, maybe there are more maps that have been made.
Yeah.
Or he has, I don't know.
Interesting.
Is there different maps that he knows of? He's got to double check before he says something. Which map we're actually talking about here, you know?
He's like, I don't want to slip up because there's a lot of different ones out there. I made one myself.
His map to hot chocolate in the middle of the night.
That's the only map you really need, let's be honest.
I feel like he was going to see Lockhart.
Whoa!
That was my theory that I didn't say because it was so early on, and I was like, I don't know if this is like allowed to like say this. But then we got into everything about Hagrid, and I don't know if that's even going to be in the podcast. I think it should be.
100%. Most of the stuff that we're talking about I'm going to put in the podcast.
So,
gold.
Having been said what I said about Hagrid, I was like, I just will say that I think he's definitely going to have a little sneaky link. Because Lockhart, again, my theory, why just not have someone you think is hot around all the time?
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I think was happening.
I feel like you maybe mentioned that off stream or something like that, because that is the funniest theory.
But that's why he was out in the middle of the night and just getting hot chocolate. I don't know.
That's his code name.
Yeah.
My hot chocolate.
But it should be something that's like blonde, like because Lockhart's blonde. What would be a blondie? Like, straight up.
Yeah, it's too obvious.
I don't know. That is what I think was going on.
What a scandal. Could you imagine?
I mean, I'm sure Dumbledore would be good at keeping secrets, and then he literally could just wash away all of Lockhart's memory.
Yeah, for sure. That's so funny.
Anyway, you did that to me because you told me Dumbledore was gay. So
yeah. There you go.
That opened all these doors.
He's going out to get a booty call from Lockhart. I'm gonna pose that theory on our Discord. What do you think about Dumbledore going down a little sneaky link with Lockhart? That is so bad. That's so funny though. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Okay, let's go to 36.
Yeah, 36
is more
the juice.
The juice.
36 is the parting of the ways. There's a lot of stuff that happens in these chapters. It's fantastic. Such good writing. Lots of really good lines here too. But there's one discussion I want to have here where at the beginning it says, "If I thought I could help you," Dumbledore said gently, "by putting you into an enchanted sleep and allowing you to postpone the moment when you would have to think about what has happened tonight, I would do it. But I know better. Numbing the pain for a while will make it worse when you finally feel it. You have shown bravery beyond anything I could have expected you. I ask you to demonstrate your courage one more time. I ask you to tell us what happened." And Sirius has discussion before this is why Dumbledore says this, but he's like, let's just let him sleep. He can talk about this later. Dumbledore's like, no, we're doing it now. Whose side are you on?
I get what Dumbledore's trying to do.
Yeah.
But I feel like he says it in a little bit of like a mean way almost.
Really?
Yeah.
I love the way that he says it here.
I read that part like 3 times and I was trying to think about this, but I don't know. I think because Sirius just wanted to put it off till tomorrow. Yeah, I guess I am on Dumbledore's side. It's like, just do it now.
Yeah.
Get it
sucks.
over with.
Yeah, it sucks. We got to do it now.
But if he was in a state where like, well, is his leg healed? I don't think so, right? I would have got Madame Pomfrey to come up. I would have healed his leg, and then I would have just went straight into it. But I wouldn't make him just like sit there in pain. Yeah. With broken bones or whatever's happening.
Yeah, for sure. At least like let him take a shower or something like that. Like let him feel normal, and then tell the story.
Yeah. There is something though about like the vulnerability of being super tired that it
Mm-hmm.
just kind of opens up all the information.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Like you're just so exhausted that you just everything comes out.
Yeah.
So I think Dumbledore is playing into that too. But
Man, that's so good.
still on Dumbledore's side, I guess.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. There's another line, and this is one that I wanted to talk about for a little bit. He said my blood would make him stronger than if he'd used someone else's, Harry told Dumbledore. He said the protection my mother left in me, he'd have it too. And he was right. He could touch me without hurting himself. He touched my face. For a fleeting instant, Harry thought he saw a gleam of something like triumph in Dumbledore's eyes. But next second, Harry was sure he had imagined it. For when Dumbledore had returned to his seat behind the desk, he looked as old and weary as Harry had ever seen him.
Yeah. I wrote a question mark next to that. I don't like the triumph in the eyes.
Why?
I don't know. Like, doesn't that seem untrustworthy to you?
Yeah, a lot. What is it though?
That literally is what I wrote. I wrote, what is that? Triumph in his eyes. Something that comes up later. And then I was theorizing that maybe Dumbledore already theorized that Voldemort wanted Harry's blood. And maybe he was just happy that he got it right, because as in the pensive chapter, he doesn't actually know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe he's just happy that like his theory was right.
So Dumbledore just like getting things right answers.
Yeah.
It could be like something that you even mentioned, that like, you know, that can't exist, and Dumbledore knows that maybe that can't exist within Dumbledore or within Voldemort, the idea of love. So
he's happy that Voldemort's on the wrong track.
maybe.
Why are you covering your face? Is this like psychology? He's lying. No, and then in chapter 1 too, it was talking about he has so much protection at Hogwarts, like you can't touch him. And I was like, maybe it's like something to do with that. Like he has more than just the blood. Like, is everything at Hogwarts protecting him? I don't know. I didn't like that he had triumph in his eyes.
Okay. All right. Interesting. That is one line that it was probably the biggest line that fans theorized on in between books and readings. Like when the books hadn't come out yet, people were going back to this line trying to figure out what the heck it meant. That there was a gleam of victory in his eyes.
Am
like
I,
they were like
remotely right.
I'm not gonna tell, but it was one. It might have huge significance. It might not have huge significance, but people talked about this line maybe more than any other line in the entire series for in between the books. They were like, what is that golden, or what is that that triumph in Dumbledore's eyes for a gleam of a second?
That's what I was saying though, about how maybe the love is actually gonna hurt him.
Yeah.
Like Harry's blood is gonna weaken him.
Yeah.
And maybe Dumbledore's like happy about that, because maybe Dumbledore understands that.
Yeah, it's a fascinating theory. It's a good theory.
I don't know.
We'll see.
How cool is Fox though?
I know.
It's the coolest thing ever.
I know, for real.
She's kind of, is Fox a she?
I think Fox is a she.
But she's kind of like adopted, like she's chosen Harry. She comes to his rescue a couple times.
Wait, is Fox male or female? Fox was absolutely a male.
Oh, she cries on his leg, so his leg does get better. Wait, did you say he's a male?
Yeah.
He cries.
He cries.
On his leg. That's the coolest way to get healed.
I know. I feel like that's going to be
Phoenix
great. No scar,
tears.
nothing. You're good. You just need to carry around a vial of little Phoenix tears with you, and you'll be good. There is another legend. I don't know if I mentioned this before to you, but that the founders of Hogwarts are the Peveril. The founders of Hogwarts are the Pevensey siblings.
What?
From Narnia. And you know that little vial that?
Yeah.
That's, some people say that's Phoenix tears.
What?
Right?
No way.
So they're connecting worlds, which I love.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I used to look like Lucy when I was little. I thought I was the Gerber baby or her.
Those are your extremes. Either the
Yep.
Gerber baby or Lucy.
Yep. Um. Okay. Do you want to talk about Dementors again?
Yeah, sure.
Fudge summons a Dementor.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Which I didn't really know you could do that, but I guess that's because he's the Minister of Magic.
Yeah.
He's the head.
I guess because they're in some kind of working relationship. It's like he's summoning his inferior to him, or his servant, or his worker to him.
So Crouch Jr. dies.
Yeah. Or no, he doesn't die.
He gets kissed.
He gets kissed. It's almost worse. He becomes a shell of himself.
No, that's good. I want that for him.
After he had to take Veritaserum, he deserves peaceful. He doesn't have to think about this stuff anymore. He's just in Azkaban, just chilling.
Yeah, Fudge is so annoying here. Like, he does not... He just doesn't listen. Like, if you are running a nation, you need to pay attention to when the Dark Lord is rising, especially having lived through his previous reign, essentially.
Fudge is an idiot.
Yeah, I hate him so much. And then you can feel, like, the tension rising of, like, Dumbledore is about to go, like, rogue.
Yeah.
And I guess it's the Order of the Phoenix that he creates, right?
Yep.
So, like, that's all in the undercurrent, like, starting to brew.
Yeah, there's the intensity and, like, the leadership that Dumbledore shows here and that Fudge doesn't have is pretty astronomical. Like, there's this line, or there's this paragraph. It says, "You are blinded," said Dumbledore, his voice rising now. The aura of power around him is palpable, his eyes blazing once more. "By the love of the office you hold, Cornelius, you place too much importance, you always have done, on so-called purity of blood. You fail to recognize that it matters not what someone is born, but what they grow to be. Your Dementor has just destroyed the last remaining member of a pure-blood family as old as any, and see what that man chose to make of his life. I tell you now, take the steps I have suggested, and you will be remembered, in office or out, as one of the bravest and greatest ministers of magic we have ever known. Fail to act, and history will remember you as the man who stepped aside and allowed Voldemort a second chance to destroy the world we have tried to rebuild." Freaking Dumbledore. You're hanging on Dumbledore's every line. You're like, Fudge is just an absolute idiot.
Yeah. I vote for Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Let's impeach Fudge.
Yeah, I know, for real. Fudge is just a moron. Okay, so there's a few other lines that I want to talk about in this. This is this. "Time is short. Unless a few of us who know the truth do not stand united, there is no hope for any of us. Severus," said Dumbledore, turning to Snape, "you know what I must ask you to do, if you are ready, if you are prepared." "I am," said Snape. He looked slightly paler than usual, and his cold black eyes glittered strangely. "Then good luck," said Dumbledore. And he watched, with a trace of apprehension on his face, as Snape swept wordlessly after Sirius. What's happening there?
He's gonna go back to the Dark Lord.
Ah, dang.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, this is I don't know if it's a supported theory or not, but that he's like a double agent type of thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's gonna go back. See, don't gaslight me. I think I remember this.
Okay.
I think I remember that Snape goes back and is like, has to say to Voldemort that, like, oh, if I came when you called, like, Dumbledore would have been suspicious. Like, I can't do that. But then he's actually with Dumbledore, and Dumbledore's telling him when to go back, and then it's all manipulated, I think.
So Dumbledore's just manipulating the whole situation here. What would
Well, he listens. Snape obeys Dumbledore, ultimately.
Mm-hmm. Does he?
Yes. I don't know.
Is he just saying this? Is this his lip service? Is this just like, sure? Because he could be playing. He's on one or two sides. Is he playing one side and not the other? That's the question here. That's the question throughout the series.
Yeah.
Is he playing Dumbledore or is he playing Voldemort? Your theory is a great one that he's going to go back to Voldemort here.
Wait, I have a Okay, when Snape is talking about Karkaroff,
Yeah.
he goes, we both felt the mark burn. We both knew he had returned. Karkaroff fears the Dark Lord's vengeance. He betrayed too many of his fellow Death Eaters to be sure of a welcome back into the fold. So that's Snape saying that.
Mm-hmm.
But by saying that, he's essentially saying that Snape is not afraid of the other people's vengeance. Because if Karkaroff betrayed too many of his fellow Death Eaters, he's not getting welcome back. Snape obviously knows that that's going to happen to him too. So I feel like it's kind of telling of his character that he didn't either flee or he didn't go right back to the Dark Lord.
Okay. There is something in this book that people theorize on. It's like a line that people talk about. Voldemort says about 3 people, 3 servants. He said, one is going to die. One has betrayed me forever and will be dealt with. And then one is my most loyal servant. And you theorize in this book about who those people are. And you don't know which one is Snape.
So Crouch Jr. is loyal.
Crouch Jr. is supposed to be the most loyal.
The one, what was the other one?
The one will die soon.
Probably Wormtail.
And one has betrayed me forever.
Snape.
Maybe.
So Voldemort's aware of Snape being a double agent.
Maybe. Just wait till Spinner's End.
What is that? We'll talk about it in the next book. It's your second strike.
No, we won't. No, we'll talk about this in 2 books. I'm sorry.
No, that far away.
A while.
Yeah, these books are massive.
I know. They're so good though. Any other questions in this chapter before we hit the final one?
Nope.
The last chapter is the beginning, and this is tragic with the funeral of Zed. And they all leave, and Hermione has Rita in a jar with a few twigs.
Bug. So happy.
I know.
I was right about that. Yeah, this is where the Slytherins are nasty people.
Yeah, they're the worst.
I hate them. I renounce my Slytherin hood. I don't like when the Slytherins are just being nasty people on purpose. Like, that bothers me because I'm not like that.
Yeah.
That's not a Slytherin trait in me.
I like that. Okay, so what a true Slytherin is versus what a fake Slytherin is. You'd have to somewhat be like, pure blood. But I feel like Slytherins, like good Slytherins, have good blood, but also are just ambitious and they want to get ahead in life. So they want to go far and do like huge things and like be impressive. But I don't think it's necessarily like that they're dark. I think that's always a mischaracterization. And after the series, there's been a bunch of things, but Slytherins, out of every house, I think Slytherins are the most proud that they're Slytherins because they've kind of reinvented themselves after the Harry Potter series. And they're like, the people in the series who are Slytherins are all idiots. They're like, that's not who Slytherin, that's not what it's truly representing. It's just the ambitious. It's just like the people who...
There's more to Slytherin.
Yeah, there's more to Slytherins than meets the eye in these books.
Well,
so be proud.
You know how,
but
do they
Hufflepuff will always take you.
Yeah, Hufflepuff is just objectively better.
Yes.
People. Do people know about does this podcast know about your crossword thing?
Most people do, yeah.
Okay. Because, in your crossword not podcast, I'll start over. When you're doing your crosswords, you're always saying don't cheat.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, I'm a cheater. Like, let me check the grid. Let me Google these words, whatever. But this is my thing with cheating this is so bad. And I feel like you might genuinely hate me for saying this. And I'm going to go down in your level in your mind. But I'll say it. But if I'm cheating, I won't cheat if it causes someone else to lose or if it causes someone else damage. But if it's just me cheating for myself and the only thing that's gonna happen is I benefit, I'll cheat. Yeah. But if I'm whatever, we're playing a game, me cheating causes you to lose, I would not do that.
Yeah, that's great.
But
I'm good at that.
Okay. That's like,
You
I don't
don't go.
know.
Yeah, you went up in my standings from that. I kind of did the
Okay.
same thing.
Because people think that, like, especially with the Slytherins, just the way that they go out and, like, are, like, attacking people and, like, being very active against people. I don't like that. Like, I'm ambitious, but it's, like, a personal thing, you know? I won't take that out to you. And even, like, my cheating, I'm not going to involve you in that. Like, if it's just a me thing. So I'll cheat on my own time, but I'm not going to cheat on your crossword, you know?
Thank you. I appreciate that. When
I-
you come in and do our crosswords, it's more gratifying if you don't have any of that. Was one time we were like trying to think of it for like 15 minutes and we finally got the right answer and you're like, yeah, that felt so great.
Yeah, that
was
did
nice.
nothing for me. That was not worth it. I just like to see the gold.
No way. You can't see the gold if you cheat.
If you check the grid, it doesn't
If you
give
check
you
the
the
grid,
gold.
it doesn't show gold, it shows blue.
How'd you figure that out?
Because I've done that a few times previously.
Cheater.
No, I didn't cheat. That's not cheating. It's just like it's doing the grid easier than cheating is like literally like looking stuff up. Like we had someone who I think was cheating the other day and someone called him out on it. It was actually really funny because someone just out of like their ass just pulled out 2 ones that were like perfectly it. And one of them we thought was a joke because we're like, there's no way it would be that. There's like, this is laughable that it would be that. And all of a sudden we started filling in ones that were down and we're like, it's beer 30. We're like, how does that make sense? And someone was like,
What?
there's no way that you just kind of pulled that out.
Wait,
and then
who called them out?
Becky called them out. And then I gave like a general PSA. I was like, hey guys, just remember, we're not cheating here. You know, we don't want anybody to like cheat or do anything. And
So
that person
funny.
never mentioned anything or said anything. And I'm like pretty convinced that person was just looking up answers or like they only did it to the Washington Post one. And on the Washington Post one, people can do it with me on the Washington Post, but you can't do New York Times unless you have a subscription. So I'm like, that person was probably like solved the whole puzzle themselves and was just like, I want to look smart. So I want to put this and this and this. And I was like, we don't do that on our crossword.
We hold ourselves to a higher standard.
Yep.
Yikes.
Oh, it's so funny.
I'll just go all across, check the grid, all down, check the grid, and then see where we're at.
My parents started doing it and they do it where they fill it in. It's only 2 of them doing it and they do it like all the time now. They love them. But they fill it in and if they fill in a wrong word, it just automatically checks. It's like auto checks. And they like that. I'm like, yeah, that's great. Great for you guys.
I started crosswording before I knew you were crosswording because when I can't sleep, it just like puts me to sleep because I have to think so freaking hard to figure out these clues.
Yeah, I love that.
But anyway, I have one like big note topic.
Yes.
And then that's it for my notes on this book.
Okay, hit me.
So a lot of what Dumbledore speaks about in this chapter is like on the topic of truth itself.
Yes.
Which I think is purposeful because he has this like all-knowing persona that we all know. And yeah, like he always talks about like the way that you have to be careful with the truth and everything.
Yep.
But then I wrote this just in my own thoughts. I was like, 2 closed people can only get so close. And I feel like that's me and Dumbledore at this point. Because I don't like what he's doing. And he's doing the same thing that I would be doing. And then we just have this like, and I just can't trust him. But he's like pulling the same thing that I probably would be doing if I was him.
Yeah, for sure.
But like.
Do you think Dumbledore is a good person though?
Yeah, for sure.
But he's just manipulative.
Yeah.
Is Snape maybe the opposite? Do you think that Snape is a terrible person, but is he just showing all of his cards?
I don't think Snape's a terrible person. I think he's like mean to people, but I don't know. There's more to personhood than just like your actions.
Yeah, for sure.
But I wouldn't say I probably do trust Snape, to be honest, because I feel like Snape is indebted to Dumbledore for some reason, or is indebted to Hogwarts. So I think if I told Snape something, I could trust him just because there's contingencies that he has to
Mm.
still live with. So it's not like he's just gonna go say whatever to whoever.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
don't know.
You at least got his guilt weighing down on him.
Yeah.
You can trust him with certain things. Hmm.
Because that's what I said. I feel like he's being babysat
Yeah.
by Dumbledore.
Yeah.
So I probably could trust him, but I wouldn't want to. Like, I wouldn't want to be his friend.
Yeah. He's not friend material.
He's not my type of person.
We were touching on this line before, but a few random lines I'll read. She went to ask him if you could come straight to us this summer, he said, which is Ron talking. But he wants you to go back to the Dursleys, at least at first. So keep that in mind. And then there's a few other lines. No good sitting worrying about it, he said. What's coming will come, and we'll meet it when it does. Dumbledore told me what you did, Harry. It says, Harry caught a glimpse of Cho through the crowd. There were tears pouring silently down her face. He looked down at the table as they all sat down again. You think Cho and Harry are going to end up together?
No, Cho and Ginny end up together.
Cho and Ginny? All right, wow. We are getting on a whole different story here.
Harry and Ginny end up together, and Hermione and Ron end up together. That I think I know.
Mm-hmm.
I think I know.
Okay.
And Fleur and Fred or George?
Bill.
Close.
One
of them. I don't know who else I remember. Tonks and Lupin.
Wow, okay. You remember all the romance.
Yeah. I don't even remember like what Tonks was doing though.
Yeah.
She comes up in the next book?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Tonks is great. One of my faves.
That's all I can remember.
The more important question here is, what kind of a crier are you? Because Cho is crying silently with tears pouring down her face.
Yeah, that's how I cry.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
very
lucky.
Rarely am I like actually making noise crying. Like when I finished Lord of the Rings, I was like really like sobbing, making noise, like gasping for air. But I don't know. Actually, that's so untrue because it just depends on what I'm crying about. It's the severity of the cry.
Yeah, it's kind of the same for me.
But most frequently when I'm crying, it's just like a tear going down my cheek. And I'm just tear. Like, that's it.
Yeah, it's the same for me. I like watch like a dog video on TikTok and just a single tear will come. But there's other times where I can't. If I like am really weeping, I'm like not able to breathe.
Yeah. You're like,
yeah. I feel like an idiot too. I hate it so much. There was one time, I think, were you there when that happened? No, we were talking about the person who died that we both knew. And I was like, talking about the person in a group of other people about how important this person was.
You made me cry.
No, I'm sorry.
Because I'll cry like when other people are sad too, and I think that was the first time I saw you cry.
Yeah.
And like I just like I know that was even more painful for you than it was for me. So it's just like
that was crushing.
Yeah.
But that was one where I like if I am truly crying, I like feel like an idiot because I can't speak because as soon as I like open my mouth to like catch my breath, I'm like I can't function as a human. It's the worst.
That's like with everybody though. Like who can actually talk through their tears? I can't.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I'm a big fan of crying. I think it's good.
It's a good feeling. Okay, there's one last line I want to talk about and we'll wrap it up where it says, where I just want to remember Cedric. It says, remember Cedric. Remember, if the time should come when you have to make a choice between what is right and what is easy, remember what happened to a boy who was good and kind and brave because he strayed across the path of Lord Voldemort. Remember Cedric Diggory. So good.
That's going to make me cry.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I love Cedric. I'm so sad he's gone. And he was so undeserving.
So undeserving. There's a line in the first novel where the centaur is talking. It says, always the innocent are the first victims. So it has been in ages past, so it is now. And I'm like, that's a foreshadowing of so many things that happen. But Cedric is one of the first people that dies. Frank is the first person that dies, and Frank's innocent. and also Cedric. And Cedric's just an innocent person that just walks across Voldemort's path. It's always the innocent who die. Bertha. It's like all these people.
And this is Trelawney's prediction coming true.
Yep. Exactly. Oh, it's just devastating. But then Hermione keeps Rita in a jar with a few twigs, which is highly unethical. And then the book ends.
That's it. It's crazy.
I know.
Like, I have to just sit and process the fact that I finished the book. Like, it just needs to be thought over for a while.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I'm just jumping right into the next one.
I know. Seriously.
And the next one starts really fast.
The next one is a whirlwind.
It's like shocking compared to this one that starts so slow.
Well, this one starts fast and then goes slow. This in order, it's just like you kind of hit the ground running.
Yeah. Which is great.
Most people, never mind. I'm not even gonna give what I think other people experience through the books. You just have your own experience through the next book.
Okay.
All right. Favorite character, Hot Tamale, and who wins the house? Or what's your favorite moment?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. You go first.
I'm giving it to Cedric, Hot Tamale, and the house cup because I just love Cedric.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, for sure. I'll give Hot Tamale to Dumbledore. I like a gentleman going a little angry. I like him in this chapter. The wrath of a gentleman.
I will go house cup to Dumbledore.
Okay.
Hot Tamale. Yeah, I'll probably say Cedric too. Did I say Cedric last time though?
I think so. But Cedric can win it twice in a row. He's a Hot Tamale.
And then what's the third one?
Favorite moment.
Oh yeah. I really like the sadness of Harry not wanting to let go of Cedric.
I know.
That is painful.
Yeah. Honestly, that is portrayed really well in the movies. One of the few scenes in this book, it's a movie adaptation that they actually do well. I love the words Dumbledore said about Cedric. I think that's one of my favorite moments in these. They're so good.
Yeah.
All right.
I rate this book a 8.7 out of 10.
Dang, 8.7 out of 10. All right. Not bad. This is the highest out of all of them that you've ranked, right? Is your favorite out of the 4?
Yeah, like if I had to go back and reread one right now, I would probably pick up this one.
Yeah, for sure.
But I love the third one too so much.
Yeah. The 4th and the 3rd are great. The 5th one, we'll see how you like it.
Okay.
We'll see.
I'm excited.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the Second Time Reader. Until next time.
See ya.
Peace.